Welcome back to Kababayan Today. Ako po si G. Tonji, coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Buwan ng Kababaihan. It is March. We celebrate our women of substance, and this Filipino-American is certainly going to impress all of you. When I found out about the great work that she does, I had to invite her here para makilala ninyong lahat. Kasama natin, siya po ay isang teacher at isa pong advocate for women's rights and health. Kasama natin si Bianca Nepales. Hi, Bianca.
Hi, G. Thank you so much again for inviting me. I'm excited to...
It's been 5 years since you've been here. I'm so happy that you're here. Tell me, in the 5 years that has gone by, what have you been busy with?
Well, since I was last here, I got to talk about my work with Likhaan, which is this very powerful NGO advocating for women's rights. And during my time in the Philippines, I just saw how powerful education is. Helping students, helping a whole country be able to question the status quo. And coming back, I really wanted to do something local too, because I realized how American I was.
As opposed to Filipino.
As opposed to just Filipino.
Even though both your parents are Filipino.
Exactly.
Right? But how American you are.
Right. So acknowledging my Pinayness as a Filipina American brought me back to LA, and it brought me into the classroom because that was really a space where you could give students the language and the tools to question why things are the way they are. So I taught special education in South LA for 2 years, and then I had the opportunity to join staff with Teach for Amereica, which is a national teaching corps.
Okay, and I also know that there's Teach for the Philippines as well, isn't there?
Yes.
Okay, so how was that like? Were you able to go to the Philippines as part of that?
I was. So I was able, Teach for the Philippines is 2 years old, but they've already been doing incredible work. So I was able to meet some of the teachers who, in the Philippines, like as you know, there's a track system. So
can you explain that to us? What does that mean, a track system?
So I always remember my parents talking and joking how they were in the first track, or you're in the sampaguitas, and then it goes all the way down to like the daisies or the simplest flower.
Yes, yes.
But so it creates a path for students very early on. So the teachers in the Teach for Philippines, they all teach in the lowest track, which are our students who are our most struggling learners. And they're creating classrooms where they're raising the bar, they're raising expectations, and helping kids be really empowered through their learning to actually navigate the system, get access to more opportunities. So I got to spend a week there with them, but I've been working with them virtually through video, phone calls, just helping them get access to how do you teach all your learners.
Yes, because I know that this program, Teach for the Philippines, was launched at your alma mater, LMU, right?
Yeah, they helped spearhead the campaign, and now they're just really clearing a path to, by 2050 is their goal, that all kids in the Philippines will have an equitable education.
Okay, we don't want to throw around the word a woman of substance, but we have to really put it into the context of a Pinay in America leads a very unique perspective, right? Because you grow up with sort of your parents guiding you, rearing you, but at the same time you're traversing through this new nation of what it means to be, you know, a brown colored woman in America. What can you share to all the Pinays out there that just like you have the same background, that are really trying to make a difference?
Yes, well, that brought me back to my classroom. So in my classroom, I taught predominantly Latino and African-American students. And here I am, for the first time, really seeing myself as a person of color, too. But at the same time, I knew my experience was unique to my students' experiences. So I think we're uniquely positioned to be a window and a mirror. So be a mirror to reflect and affirm and validate our unique experience as women of color, as Pinays, but also be a window for other people of color like my students, where I could show how I experience racism, but it looks very different than the racism that my students who are Black or Latino experience. So we're just sitting, there's so many overlapping identities that we can work through. So that's something I think we can all really lean into and acknowledge.
Absolutely. I'm getting goosebumps, Bianca. You come from a very sort of a place where you've experienced it, and there's something different about being in the classroom face to face with the students.
Yes.
Share with us before we go to break. I know you love teaching, right? But why would you encourage other people to get into this profession?
Yeah, I think also as Pinays, especially as a second generation, so my parents immigrated here. I'm the first in my family to go to college here. There's a lot of competition too for status among Pinays. And when I look back at my K-12 experience, some of the most painful self-loathing experiences have come from other Pinays. So I think we need to focus our energies on the larger problems.
Absolutely, and the sisterhood of supporting one
Exactly.
another. And that's what this month is all about. It's
Right.
Women's Month. It's time to lift up our own, celebrate their achievements, and really be cheerleaders for other kababayans that are Pinay. We'll be right back here on the show. Kasama pa rin natin si Bianca, and her parents are joining her, Janet and Ruben Nepales. We'll be right back. Meet the woman who feeds one of the most powerful men in the United States. Cristeta Pasha Comerford is a Filipina-American chef who has been the White House executive chef since 2005. She is the first woman and first person of Asian descent to hold the position. Born in Sampaloc, Manila, she attended the University of the Philippines in Diliman, Quezon City, majoring in food technology. However, she left school before completing the degree when she immigrated to the United States at the age of 23. She worked in various first-class restaurants in the United States before she landed in the White House in 1995 with the Clintons. A decade later, in 2005, former First Lady Laura Bush appointed her as the White House executive chef. When former U.S. President George Bush visited the Philippines in June of 2008, he referred to her as his Philippine-American chef. In 2009, President Obama retained her as the administration's head chef. She has appeared on a special 2-hour episode of Iron Chef America, originally broadcast on January 2, 2010. We celebrate Cristeta Pasha Comerford for Filipino-American Women's Month on Kababayan Today because of the inspiring and empowering herstory of her life as a Filipina here in America. Mabuhay ang kababaihang Filipina-American!